Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello and welcome to another Between Takes episode of Missing Frames. I am your host, Shawn Eastridge. Normally on Missing Frames, we watch all the movies we should have seen by this point in our lives, but the Between Takes episodes give me an excuse to go outside of that concept and do fun stuff like interviews and franchise rewatches. And we are here with the doozy of doozies of franchise rewatches. We have been doing, the Franchyze Boiz and I, the entire Godzilla series. And after over a year of doing Godzilla movies, we started in December 2023 when Godzilla Minus One came out. We are finally wrapping up that franchise. But I've got the fellow Franchyze Boiz in the room. We've got Brad Gullickson over here.
Screeyonk.
And we've got Aaron Prescott over there.
Oh,
wow.
I'm doing the
Is
jump.
that your cat? Is
No,
that your
no,
cat?
I'm doing the noise he makes when he it is that jump where he's got his hands in the air and he's got the foot coming up.
Oh, okay, great. The
Never
dance,
mind.
the dance.
Forget it. Hi, Shawn.
Is anyone going to try to do wop wop Manila? Wop,
No.
wop.
You just
No.
did.
I just did it, and that was a spot on Manila. We are, guys. It has been over a year since we started this. We what is this now? March. So it's been like a year and a quarter. How does that make you feel?
We're busy guys to track down.
We're very, very busy. Book schedules very in demand. I cannot believe that we have. I mean, I guess I kind of can. There are a lot of Godzilla movies.
This has been a long journey to this moment, and I'm glad we are here.
I'm glad we're here too. It's been wonderful. I wouldn't have traded it for, well, some of it I might have traded, but I am glad to wrap this up and move on to other franchises that are in dire need of our attention. But of course, if you haven't listened to our other Godzilla era episodes, there are the Showa era. We did 2 parts for that because it was so long. Heisei, Millennium, the legendary monster verse, and all of those are out there. Please listen to those, or else nothing in this will make sense to you. That's my pitch. We're now in the REIWA era, the current era of Godzilla, and they're only is this the shortest? I think so. Five films. Heisei had what? 4? No, 6, right? 7? See, we can't even keep track. We've been doing this for so long. I don't even know how many films are in which. I can barely remember what Godzilla movie featured what. A lot of them blend together. But the Reiwa era is happening. It's hip and happening, and it kicked off with Shin Godzilla in 2016. Was it 2015, 2016?
2016.
2016. Okay. So that was released summer 2016. It was released a couple of years after the American reboot. Japan was like, well, hey, we're not contractually obligated to avoid releasing Godzilla, so let's do our own little reboot. And they got the guy who created Evangelion and somebody else whose name I don't recognize, but I think was also on the Neon Genesis Evangelion team. And they made this movie. And I do remember seeing the trailer for this film and thinking that looks badass. But Brad, do you remember your first exposure to Shin Godzilla? Did you happen to catch it in theaters when it was released?
I did, absolutely. The other guy is Shinji Higuchi, who I actually interviewed for Shin Ultraman. Which is
how awesome!
Yeah.
Humble brag. And I had a great time eventually with this film. I think I just wasn't sure what to make of it as it was happening. I was it was not what I expected. And I as we've discovered over the course of this last year, I have very specific wants and desires for a particular Godzilla design, and to see it come out in this tadpole form with these googly eyes and evolve into this awesome beast by the end was just like, what's the word, like off-putting isn't quite it, but I was jarred while watching it initially, and eventually by the end of it I came around to it, especially since like the last chunk of this movie is so awesome. You know,
Yes.
capital A, capital D, Jesus, I don't know how to spell.
Oh boy.
Capital A, capital W, capital E, awesome.
There's
and
a
then
D in there somewhere.
And on rewatch is where I really kind of fell to this movie's wavelength.
So Aaron, what about you?
Yeah, I caught it in the theater as well. I do remember that the only time I could get my schedule around it, because I think I was I at Alamo at the time? I can't remember where I was, but I was super busy, and I remember it wasn't playing close, so I had to go. I drive a bit, and it was late night. I do remember like I fell asleep like right at like the tail end, but I remember like really enjoying like 95% of what I was watching. So I had not done a rewatch on this until this rewatch, and it's so much fun because it's so kooky. I mean, yes, the googly eyes completely fit whatever's going on in this project, because it's kind of all over the place. There's lots of different themes, but also lots of different styles going on, and just the kind of stuff that I want out of a Godzilla film, I got out of this one. And I'm just glad it was kind of fun to kind of have this one as a one-off. There are parts of it where I'm kind of like, I'd like to also see where the rest of this goes, especially with that kind of final shot.
Yes.
But it was kind of its own unique little oddity that I'm just glad exists.
It is interesting that like the movie was intended to reboot and then is now just sort of a standalone Godzilla movie, because there are a lot of interesting ideas in the film that I do kind of wish we had explored in sequels, but I'm also okay with this being the only one.
Well, it became a series of like Shin Ultraman and Shin Kamen Rider.
Yeah, it became like a label for like all these different Japanese franchises to have things sort of in that similar tone.
Yeah,
which I'm okay with.
You know, Shin Ultraman and Shin Godzilla, I feel like, are really exploring the Kafka nature of bureaucracy.
Yes.
And that's actually where I probably have the most fun with the Shin films. Even though, again, like once I vibed with the googly-eyed creature, I vibed hard. It just took another watch to get there.
That was how I felt when I watched it. At this point when I saw it, I missed it in theaters. I desperately wanted to see it, and we just never got a chance. Sarah and I never got a chance to go out and see it. And then I finally got it on Blu-ray, and I loved the approach it took by focusing on that bureaucracy and kind of, like you said, Kafka-esque is a very good word for it. And I'm not using it in a Jesse Eisenberg Squid and the Whale way. I actually have read Kafka and I know what it means, guys. But I really enjoyed just sort of the absurdity of like, all right, well, we've got to figure out how to take this thing down. Well, we need to talk with this department first, and just, the people running from office to office. But then also there is that kind of like, it's a giant ensemble. It's very hard to keep track of all the characters, but you also end up like really liking these people, even though they are very not cold, but they're very calculated in the way they're approaching things. And they are speaking in very business-like terms, which I can totally see somebody watching this and being like, I'm not into this. There are a lot of conference rooms. There's a lot of sitting around talking about the implications of what's going on. And I want to see more monster smashing stuff. I get that, but I also, I felt it was a really exciting approach to a Godzilla film. And at this point in time, I kind of felt, without having seen as many Godzilla movies as I've seen now, it just felt like a real fresh approach. Like I was actually more engaged in the story as a result of kind of looking at it through those eyes.
And it's also the only Godzilla film since the first one that's inspired by an actual disaster.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is a response to the 2011 Fukushima catastrophe and all like the human insanity around that.
And I think this one also kind of it goes for like these kind of fringe sort of genre elements instead of it's not as safe as like I'm not this isn't disparaging at all for like a Godzilla minus one that can kind of reach out to a wider audience, but to have this swing where like parts of it kind of feel like a Cronenbergian monster body horror thing,
Yes.
and then it switches to like an Aaron Sorkin boardroom melodrama. It's going for things that like it feels shouldn't go together, but they do. It works.
Creatively, that's a big risk because
Yeah.
there really isn't a precedent for like. Of course, these scenes have been in Godzilla movies before. There's always the scene where like they sit around the table and there are really bad American actors that have been cast in the roles of the Americans shaking their fist and saying, "We need to drop the atom bomb." And so we've seen these moments and we know they exist. And typically they're kind of like mingled with the on the ground human story. And this is the first time really where those boardroom conversations dominate the entire thing, and it really could have fallen apart completely. Watching it, this is the second time I've seen it since the last time I watched it was probably 2017, 2018, and I think that is what occurred to me the most is like if it was the wrong cast, if the direction and the pacing didn't flow as well, if the Godzilla design wasn't so striking, this movie could have totally fallen apart because it is so like there really isn't another film like it in the series, and there probably never will be, and that made it very, very exciting and compelling to watch. But I think what the movie's saving grace is and why a lot of people really responded positively to it is because of Godzilla himself and just how like 2014 Godzilla kind of touched on the terror of Godzilla, but then he also kind of became our like big cuddly hero. So that I think sort of undercut the terror. And this one is just flat out horror. The design of it is designed to be as disturbing and weird and off-putting as possible. And
I think also the evolution there is comedy. Like
exactly.
And then everything around it you find comedy too. It's like terrible comedy, but there is definitely comedy here.
Yeah. There is that comedy and there are those comic beats. Like it's not like flat out like, oh, this is horrifying and I feel terrible and oh, this is like, there are kind of like absurd moments of humor combined with the real like just some very unforgettable striking imagery. And I'm thinking primarily of like just the way the mouth opens when he does his atomic breath and those shots at night of the city in flames
and pulling back. I mean, the camera stands so far away from the action and you're not in space, but you might as well be looking down at this apocalypse.
Exactly. And I think the imagery and it helped. I mean, that Neon Genesis, I've seen Neon Genesis Evangelion. I can't pronounce it, but I've seen it. And it's a fantastic show. And I think there are plenty of elements in that show that come across in here. And one of them is like that sense of scale, that sense of like otherworldly horror, which is like, I think by this point we'd been relatively familiar with Godzilla after however many decades of seeing this creature. And I think it really does feel unique and terrifying in a new way and in an exciting way that is still like, to me, one of the high bars of the series. I will say personally for me watching it the second time around, I felt I did miss kind of the more human stories of people on the ground. I know this is not interested in that, and I think it's a cool approach to not be interested in that, but I think the emotional disconnect kind of registered with me this time, and it made it harder for me to engage with. But how do you guys feel about that?
Well, I'm an intellectual person, so I engaged with it much more so from that point of view, from the brain, Shawn, not from the dumb heart.
Tell me more about this brain you speak of, Brad. Aaron, how about you?
Me no likey. Me like punchy.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's what I've learned about you in this year-long adventure we've gone on together.
Exactly.
Is there any? I mean, honestly, like I really like Shin Godzilla. I think it's great. It's one of one of the better films, certainly in this century of Godzilla. Is there anything else we haven't touched on that we want to say about it?
I would just say again that its uniqueness is its draw.
Mm-hmm.
It does stand apart from every other Godzilla entry. And I think if you are looking for any of the other Godzillas that came before and you want more of that, you don't get that with this. Like, I do think it is challenging the fandom a little bit, and certainly challenging my own personal fandom. But once I let go of that, I'm really taken by it. Like, to me, again, and like I'm watching it now in 2025, I feel like it's only more prescient and painful to watch, frankly. I don't know. I just, the heart is there, but it's not there in the way that it is in other Godzilla movies or in the Godzilla movies we're about to talk about.
Yeah,
I
agree.
And I honestly, sorry to interrupt, Aaron.
No, good.
I do
He's not.
feel, I'm not. I do feel like that's spot on. I think the less you know about Godzilla, like the franchise, the less you've seen, the better this movie works. I do think
The
this
less
film,
you want from Godzilla. I
right?
think,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I think that's why this movie worked better for me the first time I watched it versus now that I've seen so many of them. And
Yeah, we
again,
just did an insane thing, Sean, where we watched every Godzilla movie.
an insane and
For a
beautiful,
year.
truly impressive thing that people should be inspired by.
I don't think anybody should do this.
Aaron, what were you saying?
I was unfortunately I was going to say I agree with Brad, but mainly that yeah, I think going after any other Godzilla film because you have gravitated towards this one is not necessarily the next step. But and I say this just from perspective, but I've only seen the Shin Kamen Rider, but it feels like going to see those movies is more suited to of like a reinvention of these kind of classic devices that have kind of been with us or kind of adjacent. We've kind of known of like the history of for quite a while. And so I like I said, I've only seen the Shin Kamen Rider, which I really enjoyed. And this one, I still need to see Shin Ultraman and get on that. But this kind of like reignited that. I was like, oh yeah, these are things that I enjoy as well.
Shin Ultraman is very funny.
Yeah,
I need to see that. I've been wanting to see that, and that will give me an excuse to read the interview with Shinji Higuchi. So I will get on that. Anything else? Are we good? Do we want to move on to our favorite films in the franchise?
Godzilla Minus One. Let's go.
So, well, what are our final ratings? How many boardroom meetings would you give Shin Godzilla? Brad, we'll start with you.
I give it 4.
Okay. Aaron, how about you?
I'm actually going with googly eyes, but I give it 3.5.
Okay, 3.5 googly-eyed boardroom conversations.
Yeah.
Interesting. There are 3.
Huh?
According to my notes here, there are 3 films between Shin Godzilla and
Where's
Godzilla
that?
Minus One. Animated, Netflix. Have you guys heard of these? Godzilla, Planet of the Monsters.
Can I
City
tell you
on the
something?
Edge of
I
Battle?
think Netflix is ruining society. The death of cinema is happening, and we are just going to watch it from our couches. I don't think so.
I think this is Exhibit A in that argument. We have this trilogy of anime Godzilla films that came out in, I think it was between 2017
and
2019?
2019?
No.
Maybe.
2017, 2018. 2 were released in 2018. Good Lord.
Boy,
They
just,
unleashed 2 of these in the same year.
Can I tell you, this is why Lisa and I do our filmographies in reverse chronological order. Like if we had started this insanity a year ago with this era, I would have gone through these animated films no problem. Because I knew quality was really on the horizon, right? Suko is almost there. It's why I do John Carpenter in reverse order. It's why I do, any filmmaker I love in reverse order, because the movies I tend to love are in the middle to the beginning of their filmography. And that's definitely the case with Godzilla, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Minus one's coming. I wonder what you have to say about that. So why don't you shut up?
So
well, like Spielberg. Okay, hold on. So, like right now, Lisa and I are watching Spielberg movies in reverse chronological order. Spielberg's last film was The Fabelmans. It's freaking great. West Side Story, so good. Ooh, BFG. And you get through BFG because at the end of the reverse chronological order, you have Close Encounters and Jaws. And 1941's over there too, but don't worry about that. Sugarland Express and Duel.
So yes, there are 3 animated Godzilla films. We debated over the course of this series for a long time whether or not we were going to watch these. I did watch all 3 of them, and I say 3 in the loose, or I say I watched them in the loosest sense of the term. Very quickly into number 1, I realized, this is not for me. I don't know if this is for anyone, truly.
I know that I argued, guys, we have to watch these 3. And then I'm the one who couldn't complete them. I'm putting it out there. I started them. I was all for including them in this rewatch. And I was, barely into the first one. I was like, nah.
I'm the only true completist here.
No, I watched all 3.
Oh, you did?
I did. I just barely watched them. They were. Let's just say they were on
2x
the room.
speed.
Yes, they were on in the room that I was in. No,
he's doing dishes.
I should have done that.
He's doing laundry.
I'm doing whatever I can.
So
I'm
productive.
doing whatever I can
so
to not have to watch the movie that is playing in front of me as it is playing. I would encourage everyone out there who is mildly curious about these films, don't do it. Don't do it. I beg you. I hesitate to call these films. They do.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. I mean, okay. I guess can we kind of talk about all these all together?
All together.
Okay?
We have to because there's barely anything to talk about.
It's the only way I can. I'm putting my mic on mute. See you later.
So number 1 is Planet of the Monsters. Number 2 is City on the Edge of Battle. And number 3 is The Planet Eater. Yes. Now, what I have to say about these is the first one, I found fine-ish. The main characters of the story are incredibly dull. And you have to follow them the entire time. You don't really know what's going on. You just kind of
to be fair, you could say that about a lot of Godzilla movies.
That is true, but this is on interesting. This
is on another level of dull.
Yeah, but incredibly dull. There's at least some kind of goofiness or the nostalgia factor of I think of knowing better. And nowadays there's something to I could watch the the praying mantis things play soccer and hit Manila in the head
right
on Monster Island. I can get behind, that's fine, whatever, it's silly, it's stupid, but there's some fun to it. There's no fun to be had here. Now I do want to say number 2 I actually didn't mind. I thought was kind of okay. And I really liked Brad. Just let you know, they're on this planet, or they're on Earth, that they're now 20,000 years into the future or something. Godzilla is still kind of there, but he was dormant. But now he's back, and now he's coming after him. And Mecha Godzilla has, I think, was a part of through nanotech, and so it's now evolved into this city. So it's Mecha Godzilla City. I kind of dug that. And so it's turned into this battle fortress, which could have been more exciting, but I like the idea. The third one is abysmal. The third one goes into this pseudo-religious sort of thing, and literally characters are doing exposition nonstop, but not exposition just to give you backstory. It's exposition of literally what's going on in front of you, because you have no idea what is going on. They're saying, oh, King Ghidorah is, biting Godzilla from the 4th dimension across the third vortex. I seriously have no idea what was happening. And it was dull, it was silly, it was stupid. But part of me made me think, I was like, what if we got, you know how Topher Grace likes to go in to the prequels, and he likes to do the
Get them all together.
he likes to do the Topher Grace edit. I kind of wonder if, there's 3 movies here. We have a first act, a second act, and a third act. There's something there. The third act really needs to be cut up and done something special too.
Yeah.
But I feel like there could be something here to tell a future super sci-fi Godzilla anime story somewhere. So maybe Topher Grace, if you're listening to this episode, work your magic.
Yes,
That's
get
all I'm
on
saying.
it.
Yeah.
I that was one of my thoughts, was like, this is one movie, and instead it is for some reason 3.
Yeah.
and so on top of that, what really bugs me, aside from the fact that I agree with you, I didn't find any of it interesting, and I'm shocked that you were able to describe with some level of clarity what happened in these films, because I remember vaguely, but they're almost dreamlike in the way they don't follow the rules of anything of storytelling.
Yeah.
Like, there's and it's what frustrates me is it's such an interesting idea. I like the idea of like, oh, it's thousands of years into the future. Humanity has essentially been chased off the planet by the monsters, and now they're coming back to reclaim their territory.
You're doing great.
Interesting idea. Like, that is a cool idea, and again, a fresh take on this character, this franchise. And I just don't know why you would then spend however much money you spent to make this. The animation is really cool. It's really solid. But not one thing about it works. It is so deadly dull, because so much of it, like you said, Aaron, is that kind of like incredibly self-serious kind of conversation, philosophizing, like, the monsters, are we the real monsters? What is a soul if not a monster? And it's just like they just talk and talk and talk, and 90% of the film is them pondering and thinking about humanity, and does humanity deserve to be wiped out, and blah blah blah. And then at the very end, Godzilla shows up and blasts some stuff for like 5 minutes.
I just was praying that he would have done that from the beginning, and then we went into like some sort of what was the slasher movie that came out this year that was like the behind the back POV, or last year, that, you know what I'm talking about, where
I'm trying to think. Brad, help us.
Help me.
You've been meditating.
Unmute your mic.
You've been meditating.
Unmute your mic right now.
I've unmuted my mic, and I don't know what you're talking about.
The slasher where you're they're in the woods. It's kind of like a Friday the 13th, and you're following him behind the back POV. It's got a really cool kill with the girls doing yoga on the cliff. No, nothing.
No.
Oh my
I don't
God.
remember this.
I gotta find it. Well, anyways, I would prefer that. It just stalking Godzilla around planet Earth as he just destroys whatever else is there. I would much rather prefer that.
Well, there's also like, it feels like this should be a recipe for like an emotional, like, oh, humanity returning to Earth, like the home that some of them have never known. Like, just feels like there's easy emotional content to use there, and they don't take advantage of any of it. And it just feels like, what a wasted opportunity, what a waste of the talent involved, because everything, animation, the performances, everything is on point. It is just like the story, the scripts themselves are atrocious, and not a thing happens in them. And they, in the same way, like the 1998 Godzilla movie is sort of like, is this really a Godzilla movie? I would say the same about these 3. They are barely Godzilla movies. There is a creature that resembles Godzilla, that does things that Godzilla is known to do, like atomic breath and things like that. But for the most part, it's just like, it is just that ponderous, like very heavy sci-fi, but like without a single moment of interest.
In a Violent Nature.
In a Violent Nature. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Look at that.
That's the
Both
movie.
of us.
Thank God you guys found out. I really like, I have almost, that's all I have to say about these movies.
Yes, I'm already done. Brad, you done?
Yeah, Brad has been, he's been done since we started this entire franchise watch. What do we even give this? How many
Brad
terrible.
just writes an NA on it.
Yeah, not
yeah.
applicable. Not applicable.
Yeah,
to this
not
guy.
applicable. How many N/A's do you give this?
For number 1, I'll give it a 2. Number 1, I'll give it a 2. Number 2, I'll give it a 2.5, and number 3, I'll give it a 1.
I'll give all 3 ones across the board.
Oh
for
boy,
these.
I'm a nice guy.
Brad, what about you?
Not applicable.
So it gives 5 non-applicables from Brad. All right, thank God we're done with
I feel
that.
bad. I feel
No,
bad.
don't
I
feel
was
bad.
like,
No,
gotta
he
watch
should.
it.
He
feel
should.
bad.
No, he should a little bit.
No,
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah,
After all that talk.
I
and
just
hyping
feel like
us
we've
up.
been doing this
You were
for
the
a
hype man
year.
for these movies, Brad.
You
Man.
did this to us. You should feel pretty bad.
I feel like I failed the missing framers out there.
It's all right. You did, and you'll have to live with that forever. The internet will live on far beyond us, and people will know for all eternity that
Okay.
this is your legacy. Let us move on to Godzilla Minus One. I was about to say this is the most recent Godzilla film. It's not. That was a Godzilla X Kong. But Godzilla Minus One in many ways feels way more significant than that film. And-
How dare you besmirch Zuko?
But Godzilla Minus One, from the get-go, the moment I saw the first trailer, I was like, where did this movie come from? I desperately want to see it. And then when it was released and the reviews started coming in, I was like, oh wait, I don't know if I'm emotionally prepared for this. I didn't I was excited as like, hey, Godzilla looks great, the movie looks great. I didn't realize that it was going to be something that like connected with people so strongly. But Aaron, do you recall your first exposure to Godzilla Minus One, those early trailers? Do you remember how you were feeling?
Oh, when the trailer came out, it kind of felt like a fever dream, like something like that. It felt like a movie that we had missed that had come out back in Showa era or something, or like Showa era, but with like with modern tech and vibes and just the way that it was created. But it was like I was extremely excited for it, and just getting anytime you get to see the big Toho logo up on the screen, it's like it's worth the price of admission just for something like that. But yeah, this was something that I was really ready for, and I was not disappointed.
Brad, how about you?
It's just so fun to see Godzilla back in a World War II setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like when you saw the trailers, you're like, yeah, okay, this looks good. I'm excited for this. I don't think I was like super hyped.
I think I was more interested, or like my interest was piqued because I was like, oh, what does minus one mean? I was like, this felt like almost like a mystery of like, what is this title truly?
Yeah, well, I also just feel like the trailers when they came out, they cut together, it looked solid, but it didn't look extraordinary. But then you go and you get sucked into the emotions of the saga, and I feel like the first trailers didn't do justice to the frames themselves. This is actually an incredibly beautiful looking movie, and I didn't catch that initially. It wasn't until I was sitting down watching the movie, and right from the jump, you're experiencing something special just visually, and then you fall for the characters, and then you are crushed by the emotions. And it does still deliver on the badassery of a Godzilla story too, even if it doesn't have a whole bunch of different kaiju in it. No Muto's present.
Right. I remember getting excited for Minus One to be released, and that was the first time I went through every single Godzilla movie, because we started talking about, well, we should do this episode, and I watched them all and thought like, well, we'll do it in December or January, we'll knock it right out, and here we are now.
Never thought we were going to knock it out. I knew from the beginning.
Brad,
go back and listen to that first episode.
Almost immediately. I think on you could at least rely on Brad to, every time we reunited, I would say we're going to get this done, and he would say no, we're not.
As
We
soon
are
as I saw
absolutely not.
as soon as I saw Sean's letterbox just start blitzing, I was like, "Oh no, he's going quick,
Way too fast."
He put his foot all the way down on the pedal, and he's not stopping.
But I remember what really got me pumped was, the trailer. Of course, I really connected to the trailer and loved it and was very excited. The reviews coming in was like, oh, this is really, really cool. This is going to be something to look forward to. But then a friend of mine who is not remotely into big blockbusters, is not remotely, like, he enjoys them, but like for the most part, he's kind of left cold by them. He likes more grounded, reality driven drama. He texted a group chat of me and some other high school friends, and he was like, you guys have got to see Godzilla Minus One. It's one of the best movies. It's not, he's like, it's like a World War II drama. Like, and when he reached out to us, I was like, okay, I know this is going to be something special, because this guy does not get excited about these kinds of movies. He's not the one who's reaching out to the group saying, you've got to see the new Godzilla movie or the new whatever, Spider-Man. Like, he's just not remotely in that. He's not a fanboy. And I was like, something about this movie is going deeper than that. And then I saw it, and it was exactly as you described it, Brad. I kind of like sat down ready for a great experience, and then was just utterly blown away by, like, not just a great experience, but like, this is everything I want a movie to be. Like, I was emotionally engaged. I was involved in the story and characters in a way I was not really expecting. And this is not to put down Godzilla films, but like, I was not expecting to be so engaged emotionally in a Godzilla film. And I think what Godzilla Minus One's biggest strength is its characters,
The
and
human characters, yeah.
it,
When have we ever said that about another Godzilla
it's not
film?
something you say.
Yeah.
It's not something you say typically about Godzilla, and it just, I found myself so involved in the story in a way that completely, like, it just pulled the rug out from under me, and I from the get-go was completely involved and absolutely adored it. And what I think Brad and I have clashed on this throughout this entire series, but what I think, there's value in the big kaiju, the fun Godzilla movies. For me personally, I think these movies work best when Godzilla is a metaphor for whatever humanity is going through. And this is the first time where I think they really nailed the metaphor with our hero. Just
I don't know about the first time. I feel like Shin Godzilla just did it.
It did it fine, but not like this. Not in an emotionally affecting way that, like, really,
Well, not
like,
in a very Hollywoody way. Like,
well, but no, I'm saying, like, in a way that, like, the way that the character Shikishima, Koichi, is essentially, his emotional journey is so connected to what this creature is in a way that just does not exist.
Yeah,
and that's
agree.
what I'm talking about. That's what I mean.
This is where we're going to start to really clash.
Well, this is all I'm saying. Let me finish, and then you can hate on me, Brad.
Fine.
But all I'm saying is the emotional content of the story and this character's journey and the way they connect it to what Godzilla is representing, which is, Godzilla is essentially this being that represents pain and death and suffering, and almost like a reckoning for humanity. And then on the flip side of that, you have humanity standing up and fighting back and saying, no, we choose life. Like, we choose, after this horrible war where Japan was humiliated and destroyed, and they realized their entire philosophy on life had been wrong. This ancient spirit of what Japan used to be, its war torn, its destructive nature, its angry, death focused nature, humanity is willing to step up and stand up to that. And I thought that was, I'm getting emotional talking about it because I was so affected by it. And now, Brad, go ahead and complain.
I just think that the ending of this movie doesn't quite work. I feel like it is too sentimental. I don't love that Noriko is there. I don't love that we get the ejection seat. It feels a little, a little too much Spielberg in my Godzilla.
No,
Aaron, what do you think?
I feel like I'm 50-50. I feel like I'm in between you two here, and I'm gonna have to choose mom or dad when the night is over. Like
Mom does all the cooking, baby.
Wait, which one of you is mom?
I'm mom. I cook. I watch Top Chef.
No, I do kind of feel like the stuff with Noriko coming at the end. It's a little too melodramatic, and it just ties that bow a little too tight, a little too neat. For that I agree, because also like getting her out of the way. Oh man, I know
It's so brutal.
It's brutal, but also I mean we're talking like it had like a Man of Steel Pa Kent sort of vibes of like the sacrifice was like you could have dove into the alleyway with him, you know. It didn't have to do a straight push, you know, that kind of silly stuff that I'm gonna nitpick over. As for the ejector seat, I think the ejector seat is a pivotal and necessary moment. I think the way it was telegraphed it was awful.
Yeah, that's really what I mean. Like the ejector seat, just the mechanics of getting us to the ejector seat doesn't work. If the fact that he does it doesn't bother me. I do think Noriko being like A-OK is a little annoying, but
yeah. Agreed.
She's got some bandages on. She's, you know,
she had a single bandage on.
She had a bandage,
and she's setting up the sequel. That's all that's really going on.
Exactly.
But you know, I when it comes to the telegraphing the, like, he's looking at the ejector seat sign, and you know he's like, oh, I got one more thing to tell you, and you know, just like if they left those two little bits out, you know, of like a will he won't, you know, thinking that there's not the option, but that his whole mindset, like you said, like there's a really great moment where the scientist guy is like having like this rousing speech, and like, you know, talking about how they have treated their lives too cheaply, you know, and there's something that's really just beautiful, and like their perception of war and what they've done, because, you know, the history of Japan up to that point, just there's so much history and hurt and pain and suffering on so many different parts that it's really fascinating to see how the ethical quandary of the kamikaze and of masculinity, how that's all kind of being, you know, processed in this movie about a giant, you know, lizard monster, you know, and it like it's stuff that shouldn't work, but it completely does, and it's because of that relationship with the monster. If he fails, our main character, he fails first as a kamikaze pilot, and then second fails to defend his men against Godzilla, and so there's that personal retribution that has to happen, and just those two bookends for that character, it's fantastic. And yeah, so I agree with Brad. There's some little like bits and bobs that I feel like could have been tweaked, or like, you know, left a little dirty, but for the most part, I can forgive it because it was just so good.
That's the boat I'm on. I none of this bothers me. I agree with you all. Like, I think like, yeah, it's a little silly that like, oh, she's in the bed and she's okay. But like at that point, I am so involved, and I've been so with Koichi on every step of the way that it works for me. And it feels like Koichi finally has his peace. He finally chooses life. He's been despairing. We've been watching him despair and suffer this whole movie. And finally he gets a reward. And, you know, maybe that reward could have just been the girl Akiko. But I think there is something really sweet about that. I'm okay with the sweet Spielbergian saccharine sappiness at that point. You know, I don't need that. You know, and yeah, the projector seat was a bit too projected, but I'm okay with that too. I think, you know, none of what you're saying is wrong. I think everyone will react to these in different ways, but I think for me, a film that works so strongly and is working so well and is so emotionally involving, I tend to be forgiving about these. These things don't bother me personally, so I'm more willing to give a pass to that stuff because of just what is the overarching message of the film? Is that working? Is it hitting those beats? And on top of the emotion and the beauty and an incredible supporting cast, like, I mean, it really does feel like a Spielberg film in all the best ways, where you have all these wonderful human characters, and when I say I really put the emphasis on human because they feel human, I love all that, and I do love like I was telling, you know, I this movie kind of inspired me to start learning Japanese. I've been learning Japanese for a few months, but part of the joke in my family is that I bought the imported big box set of Godzilla Minus One because I was under the impression it had English subtitles. It does have English subtitles, but there was a moment where I thought, oh wait, maybe it doesn't. And my wife said, well, you should just learn Japanese. And I was like, well, I've always wanted to learn Japanese. I'll go ahead and get started.
Shawn, I've got a 42-day streak on Duolingo for Japanese as well.
Beautiful. I told my my one of, you know, I've been learning Japanese and I've been working with a tutor, and I was pitching this movie to her because she hasn't seen it. She lives in Japan, and I was telling her, I was like, after I watched this movie, like I felt like if I was Japanese, I would feel so proud of my country. Like this movie, like gives you in the same way, like when we watch Rocky, like, yeah, I'm proud to be an American, and maybe not so much. Well, yeah, from Rocky 4, absolutely.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like, I just felt like this sense of like, pride for a country that I've loved and respected for so long, but it just felt like a really beautiful dedication.
Well, as
and
a Westerner, I can't speak
to pride in your country.
To the Japanese experience of watching Godzilla Minus One like you can.
Ivan Drago did nothing wrong.
I have 3 months worth of Japanese under my belt, Brad. I'm pretty much Japanese.
Well, now speak for the whole country.
I really like it. And also, I think Godzilla is ultimately the most effective Godzilla is when you tie it into Japan, and the character was created as a response to this horrible suffering that no other country has experienced. And so like
Roland Emmerich disagrees.
Yes, I'm just about to say that.
But you know what it just felt like at the end of this, it felt like a very like acknowledging that pain and acknowledging the strength and courage of the Japanese people and that resilience. And it just felt like all of that works for me. And then on top of all of this, like it would all be a great film, but then on top of it, you've got like Godzilla looking amazing, scarier than ever, amazing set pieces, exciting set pieces. Like it's just like it is to me genuinely perfect. I adore this.
This
movie.
is why
Brad, just go ahead. Just ruin my dreams.
No,
go for it.
This is why I love Godzilla, because we have Godzilla Minus One coming out just after, I believe, Godzilla times Kong, the new Empire.
No, this is before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me repeat this whole sentence then.
No, your whole point is negated because you were wrong here.
This is why I love the Godzilla franchise, because you have Godzilla Minus One coming out, and it is in this one mode, which I will call Shawn mode. And then you have Godzilla times Kong, the new Empire, coming out a few months later, and that is in Brad mode. And the franchise can support both modes, and both are fun. They're just
is my mode the 3 animes on Netflix?
Yes.
Sadly,
no.
I think we've been meaning to tell you.
No.
The moment has come.
You're Goldilocks, man. You know? That's what you are.
Godzilla is as versatile as Batman. Like Adam West Batman to me is just as enjoyable as Christopher Nolan Dark Knight Batman.
All Godzilla are valid.
Yeah, all Godzilla are valid. All Batmen are valid. So I think you're right. I think coming to the end of this long journey, I think that is one of the things that is the most apparent to me. But it also, like for me personally, like a film like Minus One reminds me of why I love movies in general, which not every Godzilla movie does. And I just, it made me very happy, and it makes me very, very happy that that Yamazaki-san is coming back. Yamazaki-san, that's a Japanese, as a Japanese speaking individual, that is how you refer to him. Just in case anyone's wondering.
Shawn, you're embarrassing me.
I'm really glad he's coming back. That there's going to be a sequel. And I'm curious what you guys would want from a Godzilla Minus One.
You mean
sequel.
Minus 2? Godzilla Minus 2?
Yeah, Godzilla Minus 2. Or technically, Is it?
I think it's
Are
just
we
minus.
adding? Is
No,
it
we're
just
minus.
0 or is it just minus? Like
We're
does
going to
it
minus.
even 0? Okay, Godzilla minus.
Yeah.
Brad, I think we know what you want, which is bring on the dumb.
I would not say that that's what I want from a sequel to Godzilla Minus One. I want something that's as emotionally invested in its characters as this one. Do I necessarily need it to be so closely tied to the World War II Japanese experience or post World War II Japanese experience? Not necessarily. I feel honestly that they could go anywhere along the timeline as long as they are continuing the themes explored in this. And like do I need these characters, these human characters stories to be continued? Not necessarily either.
Yeah.
Maybe their families.
Yeah. Aaron, what are you thinking?
I just want Hedorah. I just want him.
I want Hedorah
want
so
him
bad.
so bad.
And
That's
Yamazaki
not
has
true.
said
Neither of you
he
want
has
that.
said didn't he mention Hedorah in a
I feel
in
like he's
an
at least
interview
said he was a
recently?
fan. I'm not sure if it's been mentioned.
He
for
said
a movie.
something about like wanting to see what Hedorah would look like. with
I
modern
kind of like, or
technology.
so I guess I'll throw the question out to you guys. What are your personal little fan theories of what's going on with Noriko's neck, the black stuff?
Hedorah. It's Hedorah.
That's what
It's
I
Hedorah.
think. Yeah.
I'm manifesting Hedorah.
Well, I kind of thought it would be interesting in a post-pandemic world to to have it where
Yeah.
she has like G cells and they've kind of been messed with her biology, and so it's gonna maybe either kill off or mutate in some sort of fashion, and that's like the new pollution is this this amorphous blobular something with fun red glowing eyes.
Aaron's
obviously.
already written it.
He's got it. That's it. That's the pitch for
Yeah.
Godzilla
Yeah.
minus.
Godzilla minus.
Yeah, I love that. And Brad, as much as I love these characters, I kind of agree with you. I think in some ways we could kind of start fresh, like with maybe like it's a generational thing where we focus
Mhm.
on descendants. And it's I'm excited to see what happens. I think there are a couple directions you can go in, but I'm not necessarily married to needing to continue this story. That said, I'll be fine if we do.
As long as Millie Bobby Brown makes it in there somewhere.
As long as
That's
she's
the
in there.
thing. I'm more excited about a sequel to Godzilla times Kong: The New Empire than I am Godzilla Minus One.
Really?
I am.
Oh, my
Let's get
Lord.
even further into the hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's plenty of Hollow to explore for sure. But I could see this maybe like taking place a couple decades later, and you kind of portray a different Japan, and you give Japan time to rebuild. You've got a bigger budget, so you do have the room to focus on a bigger city, maybe like Tokyo, and bring in Hedorah or another
But I wouldn't
kaiju.
necessarily want a contemporary one. Like I do think
No.
making it a period piece,
Yeah.
giving us the power of hindsight to tell a story thematically that still speaks to the moment, that still speaks to 2025 or 2026, whenever that comes out, is an important element to what makes Godzilla Minus One work.
Yes. So hopefully, I mean, I'm encouraged. I'm glad he's coming back, and I'm on board with whatever. I have very, very high hopes.
I want 1970s Yakuza acting as drug runners.
I mean, we need to have the aliens.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Bring them in.
You got to get it directed by
Brazilians.
Takashi Miike then.
Heck yeah.
Anything else about Minus One we need to say?
Black and White. Have you watched it? What do you think?
I haven't watched the Black.
I haven't watched Black and White either.
Neither have I. Okay, moving on.
It's the same with Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
where, I know George Miller claims his intention creatively is
I'm like, cool.
the chrome. I'm like, that sounds great. I
Yeah.
just like the color. Mad Max in color is gorgeous.
Yeah,
I
I have
don't-
watched the Black and White Fury Road, and I prefer the color version.
Yeah, for sure. So, what are our ratings for Minus One? Are they Godzilla Hedorah cells? How many Hedorahs are we manifesting for the sequel? That's what we're going to give Godzilla Minus One. Brad, what would you say?
3.5.
Aaron, how about you?
4.5.
I will give it 5. And gentlemen, we have watched and reviewed and discussed every Godzilla film.
Except for this guy.
except for Brad, and he will now be booted from the island. But Aaron had a great suggestion, which is that now that we've reached the end, we have a few questions, a few rankings, if you will, a few decisions to make about the franchise as a whole. So I have these questions here, and I will read them to you, and I need some answers from you people. And everyone listening, I would love to hear from you as well. And please tweet or blue sky. What do they call it?
Skeet.
Brad?
Skeet.
Please skeet the
That is
answers.
not- they do not call it that.
We're calling skeet, skeet, skeet.
Please, whatever you want to call it, do that. All right. So, first question is about our Mount Godzilla, Mount Zilla more. Who are the 4 kaiju that you are etching into your Mount Zilla more? These are the 4 favorite kaiju that, aside from Godzilla, we're ruling out Godzilla. Who are your 4 kaiju? Aaron, we'll start with you.
4. Should I just rattle off all 4? Or are we going around, or should I go for it?
Go off all.
Okay.
Like just name all 4.
All right, 4. I'm going Mecha Godzilla.
Does that count?
Why doesn't it count?
Yeah, Mega Godzilla.
Is that
counts,
Godzilla?
for sure.
I mean,
Oh,
he's a
all right,
robot.
fine.
Is he a
No.
kaiju?
Then I will not
Kaiju.
listen. I will not choose Millennium Era, since he has the soul of Godzilla inside of him, so he has to be.
Okay.
I'll
Has
go
to
with
be a robot,
I'll
pure
go with
robot.
Terror of Godzilla, Mecha Godzilla. Okay, that's what we're going. I'm going Mothra. I'm going King Caesar, and this one. You guys, please,
King Caesar.
have some respect. All right. I went back and forth on this one. I really want to put Hedorah on there, but I feel like
Oh man, I hate your list.
no.
I hate it.
Listen. I don't know if you hate it because you're
I'm
jealous
gonna
or
bomb your more.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, but I want to go Hedorah, but I feel like, in Mount Zillamore, I'm not able to get the red lighting I need for the eyes for it to really pop, and it's just going to look like a sludgy kind of like, melting booger up there. So I'm actually going to go with Biollante.
Okay, all right. Brad, let's hear yours.
Well, I gotta adjust mine based off of Aaron's. Going back to sketch, going back to design.
No, I want to hear it. If we have crossover, we need to know if we're twins for life.
So Mecha Godzilla. Okay, I agree.
Okay,
Oh my god!
It was always going to be on it.
he's got to be there.
He's got to be there. Mecha Godzilla. I'm putting Jet Jaguar there, baby.
Hey,
Mecha
that's
Godzilla
a
should
good
be
choice.
there.
Hell
That's a good
yeah.
choice.
Jet Jaguar. I'm putting Hedorah there as well.
Yeah, but I gave you Hedorah. I'm taking Biollante.
Yeah. Well, but we're both taking Mecha Godzilla. We can
That's
have
fine.
same.
There's multiple robots. So
Hedorah and King Ghidorah, man.
Yep.
You get 2 more heads on there.
my only issue is that I was like, are we putting all 3 heads? So we
All 3 heads.
Who's the
and
best
so now
one?
you have 7 heads on there. That's come on,
7
that's-
heads.
You cheat. I mean, it works. It counts.
Oh, it's 6. 6 heads.
So
So, yeah.
This is not a math podcast.
I've never
Shut
gone
up.
to South Dakota. That's not true. I have.
my 4 or 6 or 7 include King Ghidorah.
Okay.
I've got to put Mothra on there. I
Yeah.
feel like you got to get Mothra in there. Man, this is where it starts to get tough. I think I would agree that Mecha Godzilla needs to go on there, and then I got to put Destroya on there because Destroya is. It's a little. The design is awesome. It's a little generic, but like I just feel like he's earned the right to be on Mount Zillamore. Okay,
Heck
great.
yeah.
So we're moving on to what is in the entire franchise best fight in the Godzilla franchise. Brad, we'll start with you this time.
I am going with I'm doing it. Godzilla versus Megalon, the triple threat of Megalon, Jet Jaguar, Gigan, and Godzilla.
Aaron, how about you?
Okay. Okay. He's right. There is no other answer.
There is no other answer.
There is no other
He's
answer.
right.
But I will
That's
tell you
the
this. I will tell you this.
answer.
That is the answer. That is the answer. But I will tell you, I actually had a possible tie. So I'll go with my tie just to make it a little bit friendly. The most recent, the Godzilla versus Kong, when they're battling in Is it China? Where are they at?
Hong Kong, I think.
Hong Kong?
Oh yeah, Hong Kong. Yeah,
Yeah. That was a pretty baller
It's a
fight.
great fight.
So.
That is a great fight.
Yeah.
But I'm with you guys. I think Jet Jaguar
gotta
and
be.
Godzilla team up. What a great fight! It is so good. So 100%.
I'm so glad I got to go first.
What is the best human story in the Godzilla franchise? I will go first. Godzilla Minus One.
I'm gonna go that kid from Godzilla versus Ghidorah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Son of Godzilla.
No,
Kid from
no. I like all the people in Ghidorah.
Yes,
you know,
Ghidorah
it's
does have
goofy.
great people.
It's it's very of its era, but I think it's like the most fun hanging out with those people.
Heard. I would also go Godzilla Minus One because it's the true only answer. But you know what? I will give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to All Monsters Attack because Ichiro from All Monsters Attack, arguably, it's one of the most defining reasons as to why that's not a good movie. But it is entertaining as all hell to witness the birth of an honest to goodness serial killer in the making. And so that's
what I meant, not Son of Godzilla. That's the one I meant. All Monsters Attack.
Yeah.
So agreed.
Yep.
100%. He's the best. The birth of Home Alone.
Yep.
We saw it in that film.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this one this is a multi-part answer. The best moment of each era: Showa, Heisei, Millennium, Legendary Verse, and REIWA. That's tough.
That's tough.
Aaron's got it.
I've got it
Let's
written down.
give
I'm ready to
ourselves
go.
some time.
All right.
Aaron, you kick us off.
All right. This first one for the Showa era is Godzilla versus Ghidorah. Okay. What we're calling this is the vibes of the smog monster. Okay. Some movies run on plot. Others focus on character development. And then there's some movies that just get by with vibes.
But you put that over Godzilla? Like...
I did, listen. Wait till we do a ranking of the top 5 Godzilla movies. Okay, chill out. Just chill out. Anyways, when it's the first movie since the original Godzilla to really offer up a message and to do it like without like any sort of like hesitation of feeling dated or anything. I mean, it just takes the 70s and says we're here and we embrace the absolute stupidity of this moment, and we're wearing awful outfits and we have the worst music, but we're having fun and we're probably stoned out of our minds. It's got animated sequences that look like Sesame Street is recounting events from the Blob. It's got musical segments. It's got remember the tile.
You're picking multiple moments.
No. I told you my moment is the vibe of Ghidorah.
Okay.
The vibe. I have more strict moments than these other ones, but we're talking about the vibe.
So.
The vibe of Ghidorah.
Right.
So that's what we're going with.
All right. And Heisei.
Okay, you want me to go?
Yeah, keep going.
So Brad can write does all those answers. Gotcha.
Yeah, I need more time.
So for Heisei, we're going Godzilla versus Destroya. We're talking about the death and rebirth of the king. Okay, the final fight of the Heisei era comes down to Destroya, Godzilla, and the lifeless carcass of Godzilla Jr. Godzilla hits critical temperature, goes into full meltdown mode, taking Destroya with him, and then the JSDF use their lower temperature weapons to fix and not burn down the planet. Unfortunately, Godzilla is not so lucky. He goes into full meltdown mode, body decays, radiation released, core rendered, and makes Tokyo uninhabitable. Akira Ikafube's heartfelt and somber soundtrack is just swelling. Tears are starting to well up everywhere. The camera pulls out. There's a dense cloud of smog and fog that are filling the city. The center pulses with like this ominous glow. The battle has been won, but the casualty of Godzilla has been taken.
At what cost?
At what cost, my friends? But just as all wait. Just as all hope feels lost, the radiation levels suddenly drop. What's this? And all eyes focus on the city center as the camera sifts back through the hazy wasteland of the city. The ominous glow slowly creates this familiar silhouette. This iconic cry fills the air.
When this comes to Criterion, you need to do the commentary.
The once lifeless body of Junior has absorbed all of Godzilla's lethal radiation as he ascends the throne as the new king of the monsters. And if a tear does not trickle down the cheek of anybody that is watching this movie, you do not have a soul. And if you don't have a soul, that probably means it's now trapped inside a Audrey 2 like garden monster. Who knows? So that's where we are with that.
Okay, Millennium.
Is everybody else okay?
I'm okay. This is great.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Okay, we're going Millennium.
This could have been the whole podcast.
GMK, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. This one we're calling the Mushroom Cloud. Godzilla stomps through the city in broad daylight. He steps up, roars, his dorsal fins grow, the electric blue shoots out. Godzilla opens his mouth. We're anticipating the worst, right? Miles away in a classroom, children are interrupted by a brilliant flash of light. The school shakes, books fall to the ground. The noise abruptly stops as the class stares quietly out the window. The teacher slowly walks towards the window as she stands silently watching as a mushroom cloud fills the sky. The director just said, you guys, we're missing the point of where Godzilla used to be. We need to remember this moment because this is important. And he just took us to school, and it's iconic. So good.
All right. And then I guess the legendary / America era.
We're going 2014 Godzilla's introduction. Okay, we're doing military's bearing down on the Muto. It's laying waste to the airport below. We see a collection of frightened onlookers from inside the airport terminal as a sequence of explosions light up the sky and the tarmac. The music swells, the Muto screams, the helo crashes, the explosion spreads. The passengers scream and run for cover until one giant chonky foot just enters frame. The bass heavy thud just lands and silences everything. Player one has entered the game. Need I say more?
And finally, the REIWA.
We're doing Godzilla Minus One. We're calling it a countdown to destruction. Godzilla effortlessly makes his way through Ginza as he steps, crushing everything beneath his feet. Just when you thought the passive destruction of power couldn't get any worse, we see the pulsating glow run up the spine. The scales protrude from the back one at a time. Like a countdown to a ticking time bomb. An uncontainable energy is violently coursing through his body, and then his mouth opens wide. It's the most devastating rendition of Godzilla's
This is like
power.
better than an audio.
As he stands in front of a mushroom cloud of smoke and debris, we are reminded exactly what this creature embodies. Death.
I did not know we had stumbled into an audition.
Perfect. Brad, was that enough time for you to get ready?
Yes.
I did it for you, Brad. I did all that for
let's-
you.
Let's go. Showa era, Brad.
Like, it's fascinating to hear what Aaron considers a moment.
I said the first one was a vibe. Chill out.
I know, but like, I'm following in your footsteps of like what a moment is. I wanted to pick, the Godzilla versus Ghidorah, but I feel like we've talked about it a little bit too much already. I was thinking also about Invasion of Astro Monster with the Zillions and their first arrival, and just unpacking all that stuff regarding Planet X. But like I said to Aaron, you got to go with Godzilla, the OG film, when talking about the best moment of the Showa era. And for me, honestly, like the best moment, the best gift that the Showa era gave us in that original film, and I don't mean to take anything away from the original film when I say this, but it is the score of Godzilla. Every time that score is incorporated, and you hear it a lot in that first movie, like that's all that movie's got for atmosphere, really, is that score. But then when later on down the many eras, when the score would then be integrated into the film, like you knew we were in business. So my favorite moment from the Showa era is the Godzilla score.
All right. And how about Heisei?
Heisei, everything Jet Jaguar.
Hey, Jet Jaguar is not in Heisei.
That's Showa, baby.
Oh, hold on. Yeah. Hold on. I'm scrolling through my list.
Aaron gave you 3 hours.
I know. Okay. So Godzilla versus Biollante. Biolante's in the Heisei era, right?
Yeah.
We've
baby.
been doing
Yeah,
this
baby.
for a year.
That's a
My
good one.
mind is mush. Okay. Biollante being obliterated and turning into all those spores and
That
populating.
turns into the daughter's face as
Yeah,
it rises
like
into heaven.
that's the
Art.
moment. That's
Yeah.
the moment.
That's cinema.
Yeah, and if I can't pick Hedorah from the Showa era, I might as well pick Biollante.
Yes,
Now we're in the Millennium era. Okay.
that's right.
Talk about a vibe. If I can pick a whole vibe, if Aaron can go vibe Hedorah, I go vibe Final Wars.
Yeah. Oh, I'm there with you. Yes.
And the conversation that Final Wars sparked in our Millennium Era episode.
Oh man, what a treat!
I
What a treat! that
freaking
was.
loved Final
That
Wars.
was-
I can't remember a thing that went on in Final Wars.
No.
It was a fever dream.
Sum 41. That's what went on.
Exactly. That's right. Yep.
All right, America legendary verse.
I'm gonna say it's actually not from the movie. It's from the trailer to the 2014 film, and it's the Halo jump
Heck
married with
Mm.
2001's Stargate music.
Yep.
That trailer is everything that I wanted the 2014 Godzilla movie to be, and I like the film that we got, but it was never as good as that trailer.
No. And finally, the Reiwa era.
I'm going to go Shin Godzilla, that shot from a distance of Godzilla just laying waste with his atomic breath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. All right, for me, Showa era, I guess, I mean, it kind of is sort of combined with what Brad was saying about the score, but I think Godzilla's like Tokyo Rampage, or just that Rampage where it's just the music and he's just laying into things. I think it's probably a toss up between that and then maybe the moment on TV with the children singing that convinces the scientist to use his oxygen destroyer. Those are probably my highlight moments. And of course, Jet Jaguar goes without saying.
Who is definitely in the Showa era, and everyone knows that.
Yes. Heisei era, man. I feel like it probably is a Biollante. You know what I love about Biollante, just aside from the whole movie, is the after Biollante is destroyed, there's that like little teaser at the end that's like a James Bond ending where the guy chases after her and there's like a car chase and a mud fight. I'm gonna go ahead and say that because it was just like the epilogue I never knew I needed in a Godzilla film. So
all this Spielberg talk, I'm surprised we didn't say Colonel Spielberg.
Colonel Spielberg is a highlight for sure.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good one. Millennium era and giant all out monsters attack. I've got to give it to the girl in the hospital bed.
Heck yeah.
Who is so relieved that she's safe, that Godzilla has spared her, and then that spiteful bastard just swings his tail into the building and destroys it. That's one of cinema's greatest moments. The legendary verse, I mean, Brad, you're pretty spot on about that trailer. I really love the moment in Godzilla versus Kong where Kong isn't it like the atomic breath blasting the axe and then
charging the axe up.
That is great. I love that, and it speaks to Brad's right. This I love Godzilla Minus One, obviously, but like moments like that are
when it gets dumb. Let's go full dumb.
Let's go full dumb. So that I have to give it.
What about Godzilla times Kong: The New Empire, where he
swinging that
Zuko?
monkey? Yeah.
That is great too. That is great. And then Reiwa era, man. I mean, it's gonna be a -1 moment. I'm gonna give it to. If I have to pick a moment, the entire boat chase sequence is just perfection. Like that whole sequence is great when Godzilla is giving chase, and that's the first time we've really seen Godzilla. We do see him eventually, but just like his giant head chasing them and that sense of scale and that Spielberg level Jaws inspired chase, it's just that is perfection to me. So I'm gonna give it to that.
Good stuff.
And those are our best moments. And this is second to last question. What is the worst Godzilla? And we're rolling out the animated films; those don't count. What is the worst Godzilla movie of the entire franchise?
To be fair, Brad couldn't pick them anyways. So
too soon.
Accurate.
Aaron, let's go ahead and start with you.
I feel like I've kind of already hinted toward this, but it's All Monsters Attack. When Destroy All Monsters was planned, it was planned as the final chapter of the Godzilla franchise. It was high production costs, and it was detrimental ticket sales that nobody was really coming back. So the Japanese filmmaking board or whatever, they decided to create what was called the Champion Festival series, and it was a film package that was directed at kids, and it consisted of kid-friendly movies and cartoons and shorts, and they would coincide with school vacations, so they could get the kids back in the theaters, and parents could spend money and again get the theaters kind of going again. And so they needed a movie, and not only was Destroy All Monsters supposed to be a finale, they were like, let's get All Monsters Attack, and it was only a year later. And how could they do it? Because they got a cheap script that was absolutely garbage, and they said, we have a whole crap load of stock footage, we can just throw this together. And so as much as I like the idea and the passion of why All Monsters Attack is there, it's an abysmal film, and it's cheap and it's pathetic, and I get it out of my Godzilla franchise.
Brad, how about you?
I think that's a great answer. And in some ways is the correct answer. That being said, I can't agree with Aaron on anything. So I don't hate this movie, and we talked about it last episode. I just think it's not a Godzilla movie when the chips are down, and that's Roland Emmerich's 1998 Godzilla movie. It's got the title, but it doesn't really feel like a Godzilla movie. It doesn't know what's appealing about Godzilla, and it's barely an enjoyable Roland Emmerich movie.
Yeah, it fails on multiple levels.
This is true.
It is for me a toss-up between the two you have mentioned, and I think for the reasons Brad has stated, I have to go with Emmerich Godzilla as the worst, because All Monsters Attack shamelessly recycles footage. It's incredibly cheap, and I would never choose to watch it, but when I do have to watch it, it's mildly entertaining.
But that's the thing, I would definitely watch Emmerich's Godzilla again before
Yeah,
I watch
I don't know if I would, and it's mostly because I keep thinking of that stretch of the film where the baby Godzillas chase everyone through Madison Square Garden for what feels like 5 hours.
Yeah.
I think of that and I'm like, God, that kills the movie.
Yeah.
There's good stuff in it, but that for me just ruins it completely. And then on top of all of that, it's a Godzilla film in name only. So I think that is probably my least favorite. And then on the flip side, finally made it to it. What are our top 5 favorite Godzilla movies? And Brad, we will start with you this time.
Okay, so
pull up that letterbox list.
Ranking from 5 to 1.
Let's do it.
I am going to start with Shin Godzilla at number 5, and then I am going to move to Destroy All Monsters at number 4, and then I am going to move to Godzilla versus Megalon at number 3, Godzilla vs. Hedorah at number 2, and Godzilla OG 1954 at number 1.
All right, Aaron, how about you?
Oh boy. Okay, I think I'm going. At number 5, I'm going Godzilla vs. Destroya. Number 4, I'm going GMK, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. Number 3, I'm going 91, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. 2, I'm going Godzilla Minus One, and at number 1, it's got to be the king. It's Godzilla 54.
For me, number 5 is, like Brad, Shin Godzilla. 4 is Giant Monsters All Out Attack. 3 is Godzilla vs. Destroya, and Number 2 is 54 Godzilla, and number 1 is Godzilla Minus One.
Ooh, dethroning. All right.
Dethroning the original. That's right.
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy it may
Recency
be,
bias.
but it's recency bias it may be, but it is also the truth. The Godzilla's honest truth. Well, we've done it. This is the end of podcasting. No one will ever be able to
I'm
accomplish. No one will
accomplish.
ever be able to accomplish what we've done in this past year. And
I don't think anybody wants to.
I agree. I was about to say I don't think anyone wants to, nor should anybody try. But I will say there are no gentlemen I would rather have done this with than you two. This has been a real treat. There have been ups, there have been downs, there's been laughter, there's been tears, but it has been a ride. So thank you both for doing this with me, and I had an absolute blast. And Aaron, I hope you never forgive yourself for suggesting this. Brad, I hope you never forgive yourself for not completing.
I won't.
filmography.
I legit feel terrible.
But Aaron, please do tell the good people at home where they can find you out there on the internet.
You can find me at A Cool Hand Fluke on Letterboxd and what is it? Yeeting on Blue Sky. Skeeting on Blue Sky. That's where you can find me. And Instagram,
Brett.
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't think I'm on
all
there.
of the above.
Yeah.
All of the above. Brad, how about you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at Mouthdork. My wife Lisa and we have a podcast as well, Comic Book Couples Counseling. You can find it on all podcast platforms. Just go to comicbookcouplescounseling.com. Our latest episode is a great conversation with legendary cartoonist Stan Sakai, all about Usagi Yojimbo. And in that conversation, not only do we get the exclusive reveal of the next 5 pages of 10,000 Plums, issue number 2, but Stan drops 2 major bombs that I would consider
snap.
moments if you're a Usagi Yojimbo fan. So
Damn.
go listen to that episode.
I am going to listen to that episode, and also I am at YayShawnDoorman on Twitter. I am ShawnDoorman05 on Letterboxd, and of course I'm here making podcast episodes left and right. Another special Between Takes series that is going on that has just begun is my Celebrating Superman series. You can listen to my interview with legendary comic book writer Mark Waid, and there is more amazing stuff to come in the months leading up to James Gunn's Superman, and you better believe I will be roping in my Franchyze Boiz into the celebrations. So
Super
Super
who?
huh? Super who? This is wonderful. Thank you guys. I don't even know how to end this.
I just want to know when we're going to go back and do Planet of the Apes, because we lost that Franchyze Boiz episode because of these Godzilla episodes.
That is true.
Fair. That's fair. No, I think, and I still haven't seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so I
It's
think
good.
It's so good.
It's good.
yeah, there's a good argument to be made that is on the list.
And we have to watch every Planet of the Apes cartoon episode.
I can't wait. It's gonna be wonderful. Does Aaron, do you want to give a screonk to sign us off? You did such a great job with the sound effect, with the narration. Do you want to screonk us into oblivion?
Yeah, I'll screonk us, but also I just want to warn Brad that Shawn is definitely going to make us watch Steel before he's going to make us watch any of the Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh man, does Steel count? Does Steel count as part of the Superman franchise?
Well, they did that ad. James Gunn and David Cornsweet did an ad with Shaquille O'Neal where I think they were kind of basically saying that Steel is part of the
I've never watched
franchise.
Steel.
No.
Oh.
I watched it, and I don't know if I actually watched it. It feels like a fever dream.
Oh boy.
I think that's got to be included.
I think we might have to. Aaron, screonk us off into the next episode.
Screonk!